Hello, dear children. Today's topic is our rights and duties. So, children, at home, you expect your parents to look after you, right? Yes. So, you expect them to provide you with a home and give you food and clothes. Even they pay your school fees, right? These are your rights. So, you all have rights to live in home, you all have rights to have food, and you all have rights to have clothes and rights to go to schools. These all will be provided by your parents, right? So but when you have all these rights, you also have some duties to do, right? Yes. So when all your rights is provided by your parents, you have some duties. So some of your main duties are to respect and help your parents. So when they do all the things for you, you have some duties for your parents. You should respect them and you should help your parents and to pay attention to your studies. So when they provide all your rights, when they provide all things, you have the rights, you have a duties, that means you should respect your parents, you should help your parents, and you should study well. So children, can you think of other duties? What are your other duties? Yes. So in this chapter you're going to learn about your rights and duties. So in our country, there are some rights to do some things. So even for that rights, you have some duties also to perform for your country. So our country was ruled by the British for almost 200 years. So you all know that before we got independence, our country was ruled by the British. So, after a long and hard struggle, India got its freedom from the British on 15th August 1947. So, our leaders got together to form a government. So, you all know that. So, before we got the independence, it was ruled by the British. So, India was ruled by the British. So, after a long and hard struggle by the freedom fighters, so India got its independence from the British on 15th August 1947. So our leaders got together, all our leaders got together and they form a government. So government means body of people, means a people who rule the country. So government means it's a body of people, means people who governs, means who rules the country. So one of the first thing they did was to make a set of rules. So soon after the independence, our leaders together they form a government. So they together form a government. So one of the first thing they did was to set some rules based on which the government would run. So after the independence, they all the leaders got together and they form a government. To run the government, they set up some rules. So this set of rules is called as our constitution. So there are some rules which will run, the government will run according to the rules. So these rules which the government will run, so according to the rules the government will run, so such rules are called as constitution. So our constitution was accepted on 26th January 1950. So we all celebrate this day as Republic Day. So our constitution lays down some important guiding principles that have to be followed by the leaders of our nation. So our constitutions lays down some important guidance, some important principles which have been followed by the rulers, which have been followed by our leaders. So the preamble or introduction. So preamble means it is an introduction. So the preamble means the introduction to our constitution described India as a democratic, socialist, secular republic. What does this mean? Let us learn more about this democratic, socialist, secular republic. So our first introduction of our constitution say all this means all this democratic, socialist, secular republic. So democratic. This means that all the people of the country will choose or elect leaders who would form the government. So democratic means all the people of a country have the rights to choose or elect the leaders who will form the government. So this kind of government is known as democracy. So in this democratic, so people all will choose the leaders to form the government. So this form of government, this kind of government is called democracy. So India is a democratic country. So all the people have the rights to choose their leaders. So thus our country is no longer ruled by kings. So if the people are not happy with their leaders, elected leaders, they can be removed from their post. So if the people are not happy with the work of the leaders, so they have the rights to remove from their post. So you can see in the pictures voters standing in queue to cast their vote. So all the people are standing in queue to cast their vote. So next is socialist. So this means that all the people in the country will be treated as equals. So all the people, whether the people can be rich, whether the people can be poor, but all are treated as equal. So the government will not differentiate between people on the basis of their caste, religion, or in any other way. So this is known as the principle of the socialism. So in India, all the people will be treated as equal. It will be not based on caste, it will be not based on religion or any other way. So all are treated as equal. So this principles is known as a socialism. So next is secular. This means that all people in the country would be free to follow whatever religion they want. So this is known as the principle of secularism. So next is republics. This means that our head of state is elected by the people. So India is headed by an elected president, unlike Britain, whose head of the state is hereditary monarch. So republic means, this means it is head of the state is elected by the people. So head of the state, it is president. So in this India is headed by the elected president, right? So unlike but in Britain, those head of the state is known as hereditary monarch. Means in Britain the head of the state is a hereditary monarch. Hereditary means it is followed from their ancestor. So if the father died, the son will become a president. But India is not like that. So the president is chosen by the people. But in Britain, the head of the state is hereditary. It will come by hereditary. Means if the father died, it will the son will become a president. So India is a republic. So head of the state, so it is head of the state is our president. So India's president will be elected by the people, but in Britain the head of the state is by the hereditary monarch. Means it is followed by the hereditary, it is hereditary system. So next is our fundamental rights. Let's see what are our fundamental rights. So the Constitution of India gives its citizens certain fundamental rights. So if anyone feels that his or her fundamental rights have been denied, he or she can approach a court of law. So the Constitution of India gives the citizen some rights. So if anyone feels that his or her fundamental rights is not being denied, if they don't get the rights, the people can approach to the court. So some of the important rights are given here. So let's see some of the important rights. So right to equality means all people will be treated as equal. So right to freedom of speech, we can speak freely without fear. So all are having the rights to speak in any language, so wherever they can speak. So all the people have the rights to the freedom of speech. Right to follow any religion, so any religion we can follow. So right to justice, so we have the rights to follow the rules. Right to live and travel anywhere in the country. Next is right to choose our profession. So we have a right to choose our profession. So any profession, any works we can choose. Right to free and compulsory education for all children up to age of 14. So all the children have the right and compulsory education up to the age of 14. So India is a republic. So India is a republic country. So there are some other governments in our world. So monarch. So some other types of governments have, that is monarch, dictatorship and communism. So in monarch, the state is ruled by the king or queen. So in some country, the state is ruled by the king or queen. So that type of system is called as monarch. So monarch is hereditary, means when the monarch dies, his or her child will become the new rulers. So in some monarchies, the monarchs has full power. They can take any decision without asking the people. So in others, there is also a democratic government and the king or queen does not have complete power. In some country, this monarch will not have complete rights or rights without the permission of the people. But in some monarch, king or queen can take a decision without asking the people. So next is dictatorship. The state, this type of government in the state is ruled by the single leader who has absolute power. So he or she often misuse this power to oppress the peoples. The rule here is not hereditary. So dictatorship means the he or she have the rights to take any decision. So all the things will go on through his or her words. So in dictatorship, the single leader will be there. So he is having absolute power. In communalism, so all properties is owned by the government. The state provides its people with health care, education and welfare. All people are seen as equal by this government. So all the properties will be gone through the government. So all the properties owned by the government in the communalism. So state will provide for the people health care, education, welfare. All the things will be looked after by the government. So all people are seen equally by this type of government. Let's see some of our duties. So duties always come along with rights. Some of our important duties as citizen of India are, let's see some of the duties which should be performed by the people of India. So we must follow the rules laid down by the constitution. So there are some rules which is formed by the constitution, so we must follow that rules. So we must honor the national flag and national anthem. So we should respect our national flag, we should respect our national anthem. We must help to keep our country united. So you should help our country to be united. So we must protect our national properties and we must protect our environment and we must treat all Indians as equal. So these are our some duties. So, directive principles. Our constitution lays down certain guidelines for the government to follow for the welfare of the people. Some important guidelines which is given by the constitution by to the leaders are providing proper living condition for all citizens and providing work for everyone and ensuring that some people do not become rich by exploiting others. So, by seeing some people will exploit others to become a rich. So, government should look after that. So, improving the condition of weaker section of society, such as those belonging to the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. So, improving the living condition of the some scheduled class and scheduled caste and scheduled tribes.